Good morning! Good morning! That was the first time I've tried that. Hey guys, welcome back to the PhazeCast. Sorry I yelled. It's morning for me. It's morning for Xygni. And Xygni has returned from the land of California. Specifically, he went to go see something I hope was really cool. He went to the Hayao Miyazaki exhibit. Was it an exhibit?
It was the exhibit at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum, which is fairly new. They opened it, I think, last year, and it was cool. I'll tell you what, Joe.
Yeah.
This museum was larger than I expected.
I mean, I would hope so. It's a film museum.
Yeah.
Like, in California.
Yeah, but I don't know. For some reason, I sort of just thought, oh, it's going to be a couple of rooms, you know, and there'll be like a thing in the room, and then I'll go to the next room, and there'll be a different thing. Especially because the first room that you go in, right? You go in, and there's the backdrop of Mount Rushmore from the movie North by Northwest.
Oh. How big is that?
It's huge.
How big is that? Oh my god.
It's huge, and it was really cool to see. But
super cool.
But I did not, I mean, from that, I was like, okay, there's going to be one thing in each room. Then we go into the next room, and it just goes on for fucking ever. It went on forever. And they have some, I mean, aside from the Hayao Miyazaki stuff, they have some really cool props and some really cool, like, I think probably my favorite part of it was getting to see things like old screenplays that were annotated by actors or by directors. They had like an original draft of Citizen Kane. They had Laura Dern's copy of Blue Velvet. All this stuff.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Blue
yeah,
Velvet.
that movie's nuts.
That movie is a fucking trip, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was cool to get to see. I don't know, just all of this stuff collected in one place. And of course, because it's the Academy, I guess it makes sense that they would be able to do that. But for some reason, it just didn't cross my mind. I thought it's a fairly small museum that opened, and it'll be, you know, because it was $15 to go too.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, which like for a private museum, you know, that isn't like state funded or something, that's pretty cheap. I guess
What was the name of the museum?
It's the Academy Awards, or no, the Academy Museum of Motion Picture. No, the Academy Motion. No, wait. The Academy
Museum of Motion Picture?
Yeah, the Academy Museum of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. It's very long and unwieldy. But I guess you could just call it the Oscars Museum. Because you know what I saw there, Joe?
What did you see?
I saw the Academy Award that Shrek received for Best Animated Picture in 2001.
Oh, wow. That's pretty big.
And I also saw, and I'll show you this now, here. I also saw the concept art for Shrek, which was probably the single worst thing that I saw there, because look at this. Look at this. Look at Fiona.
That was the concept art?
So what you have here is a picture of Fiona that looks like a sixth grader drew it. I was sort of half expecting that to have like the age of the child that drew it next to it.
Listen, when you really think about it, though, most of the best stories in the world started out as like a kid's fantasy, and then they just became adults and finally made it into a movie. I think that's pretty much all of Pixar's catalog.
I suppose so, and I guess maybe that is a drawing that the like director of Shrek did when they were 4. But next to it was the concept art for the movie Up, which was gorgeous and thorough and very nice. It was hard to justify
fair enough.
Just how bad Fiona looked. Especially then when you compare it to the main reason that I went there was the Miyazaki exhibit, and his concept art.
Oh,
is so incredibly
Probably
detailed.
beautiful.
It's so incredibly detailed. It's insane. And I don't know, how many of his movies have you seen, Joe? Which ones have you seen?
Which one? Hayao Miyazaki?
Yeah.
I've pretty much seen all of them. I feel.
All right. Well, All right. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Castle of Cagliostro?
Yes.
That's a pretty good one, actually. Well,
Yeah,
no, I mean it's just Lupin the Third, but he directed it. Have you seen?
Which is why I watched it. I love Lupin.
Have you seen
Lupin the Third? Sorry.
Have you seen Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind?
Yeah.
What? I'm surprised. Nobody's seen that shit.
I'm a video game nerd. Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind is slightly related to video games, my dude.
Have you seen Castle in the Sky? Wait, how's it related to video games?
There was a video game.
There's a video game of Nausicaa?
I believe so.
I don't think so.
Did I just do it because I'm a nerd?
There's a manga. Anyway, the early ones are the only ones that I feel like people have missed. But going back to those like early, you can just see in his like style how absolutely meticulous he is. Like from the start, there's like Nausicaa concept art that they had in this museum that is, I mean, just some of the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen. And it's just like the concept. Pretty. It's the concept before the concept before the film cell that is like this. So I like the exhibit. I will say that one thing that I would have probably not done is when they opened this exhibit, I ordered the book companion to it and read the entire book. And most of the art that was in the book was what was on display. So when I went there, I was like, oh, I've already seen that. Like, there is, I mean, you know, you get to see the actual.
Whoa, hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. This is very important. Hayao Miyazaki's great.
Oh yeah,
was there multiple buildings? Was there multiple buildings?
What?
Of the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, were there multiple buildings?
No, well, there's like a dome that you can go into at the top. But it
because our mutual friend who went with you sent me a picture about it was the Saban building.
Oh yeah, it's the Saban building.
Oh!
which immediately I saw that and I turned to him and I was like, is that like Saban? Like Saban's Power Rangers?
The Saban.
And he looked it up and he was
Saban.
He was like, oh yeah, I guess it is. I guess that guy just bought this building.
Go Power Rangers.
And gave it to them for the museum.
Sorry.
No, it is it is the Saban. He was there and he was handing out Power Rangers.
Stronger than before?
Yeah,
Zeo.
He's stronger than before and he owns a fucking building now.
Gearing up for more.
I mean, that guy's been an investor since like the 80s, right? So like
Saban does stuff.
It stands to reason that he would own some buildings in LA.
He re-owns the Power Rangers right now.
I know.
For a while there, Disney bought it.
I believe
and had it.
They mentioned that I watched what is it on Netflix? The Toys That Made Us.
Okay.
Episode about Power Rangers and learned quite a bit about Saban and his investments and his purchases.
Let's talk about how Saban was a genius because he's like, there's a show in Japan. We're going to take the scenes from it and just put live action kids and other stuff. We're filming half a show.
It is. I mean, he had to do so little for that.
Yeah.
That yes, that is a genius move.
Oh.
I think that we've discussed this on the podcast before. Was very scared of the Power Rangers as a young boy.
Yeah, you have. I have the exact opposite.
And you were very into the Power Rangers.
I am still very into tokusatsu in general, my friend.
If we met when we were 4, I wouldn't have liked you.
No, I would have convinced you it was cool.
You probably would have, yeah.
Yeah. And then we would have played Pokemon.
Yeah. Yes. I was into Pokemon.
Everybody was. We were. Anyway, sorry to derail your Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, no. So the exhibit was very nice. It was a ton of art from all of his movies. I think probably the least represented movie was maybe Howl's Moving Castle, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's a lot of people's wet dream.
I know, which that's why I feel like in America, especially, Howl's Moving Castle is pretty highly regarded. But there was, I mean, there were sketches of the castle, there were backdrops. I guess probably Lupin III was the least represented. Sorry, is it Lupin?
It's Lupin.
I guess there is a video game of Nausicaa too. I don't know. It's from like a long time ago. They made an Akira video game. That's not Miyazaki, but
Akira.
I didn't even know that until recently. There's a series of Akira video games. One of them is a pinball game.
Series? Oh,
well, no, I mean like there are multiple. I think there are 3 or 4 of them. But I think
and it is Lupin because it's a French name. Sorry.
So I'm a generally a huge fan of Miyazaki. I think that he's a socialist icon. I think that he's he's so far beyond environmentalism. Like, cuz the thing about and I've read things on him that sort of echo this idea is that Miyazaki's relationship with nature is not one of conservation. It's one of, like, nature is so far beyond you as a person that it's gonna fuck you up regardless of what stupid things you do to it. You know? Like
I mean, you can see that in his works. You see it in, most recently, I think, you see it in Ponyo, right? Because the ocean's gonna do what the ocean's gonna fucking do. It don't care.
Yeah.
Although the thing is though, in that he also has a character who does complain about how humans are ruining nature and how we should avoid them, and that eventually nature will overtake again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he has definite.
And in general, he's not a conservationist, but I still think he says respect nature.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like he is, I think, big on wanting to respect nature, but I think ultimately his like. The core of his idea there is not like you have to conserve nature. It's like if you don't conserve nature, it'll fuck you up anyway. Like Nausicaa is like, okay, the world has gotten to a point where it's totally poisoned and unlivable, but it doesn't even really matter because the world, that poison is going to consume you anyway. The nature has adapted to the poison. There are giant bug monsters that can live in it anyway, and they're going to come fuck you up regardless of what you do.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, exactly. He's more of a
Hayao Miyazaki 2022.
He's more of a Ian Malcolm character than he is what's the guy's name?
Steve Irwin?
Yeah, no, I was thinking of who's the British guy, the explorer who he's like 95 now. He's always like, and there was an animal out in the wilderness. And I saw it.
I don't.
I want to say Richard Branson, but that's not at all the guy that I'm thinking. Listen,
I don't know who you're talking about.
So I'm a huge fan of Miyazaki's stuff, and it was a real treat to get to see. I mean, you can just see like the strokes of pencil and the watercolor and the way that it warped the paper. I mean, that was a real beautiful thing to get to see. And the museum, in general, was far more impressive than I thought. I wish that there was a little bit more interactive stuff in the Miyazaki exhibit. They had this moment where there's like the forest spirits from Princess Mononoke on a wall that are like, they'll like disappear and then light up again. And there was this big like LED lit tree that you walked under. Which was probably my favorite thing in that exhibit. I mean, not like, but like it was so like immersive. So I do wish that there had been a little bit more immersion because it largely was walking along the wall and looking at the things.
Gotcha. I mean, that's a museum though, right? I feel like museum exhibits, I feel like a lot of them are trying to get more interactive because that's how you draw more of the current crowd who isn't like into stuff like that. Because I enjoy going to museums. Very rarely do I go, but I try. I just don't like going to the same museum because that you're just asking to see the same shit again. Even if they do have a new exhibit, the only thing that changes is that exhibit. What?
No!
What?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's the same shit, but you can read a different caption.
I've read everything the first time.
Perspective.
I guess I do. I go when the exhibit changes, because I want to see like new
even
stuff.
if you go back to a museum and see the same thing, you're seeing it under a new light, right? Because you've had new experiences since the last time.
Not always.
I disagree. You can go to a museum all the time.
All the time. So you go to the museum every single fucking day.
I go to the art museum often and just look at the same exact paintings half the time. It's just nice.
Well, if it evokes something from you, that's fine. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying I evoke different shit from me.
Yeah,
you can't expect me to go and see the same picture and just be like,
That's fine. That's allowed.
Yes.
So what's your point?
I lost the point because you yelled. I'm okay. Sorry. The point was that I think museums, in order to pull in a more current crowd, because I don't think museums are doing too hot. I don't know if they are or not.
I mean, probably COVID kicked their asses.
I mean, yeah, like COVID kicked their asses. Having a more interactive experience, like you were complaining about, is almost necessary. I just think it's very hard to have an interactive experience because when you make a piece of art, you're usually making it to evoke like when you make something, you make it with a specific purpose on how it's supposed to be viewed. And then for like a film museum, trying to make interactive quantities, like interactive things based on the thing that you're there to see, is extra work that the original creator probably wasn't planning on doing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a rotating exhibit, so you have to remember that they're moving all this stuff out of that hall.
Yeah.
This summer.
So what you make should be easy to assemble and disassemble and not.
You did get there was a thing in the center of the first room where you could lay on fake grass and watch animated clouds go by like Kiki does in Kiki's Delivery Service, which I liked a lot.
Oh, that's so cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is awesome. And
that's cool.
I think just having the context of like the Ghibli Museum in Japan, I mean, is mostly built for young kids, but there are like secret tunnels in that museum and models that you can like view from different angles and just all kinds of interactive things. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that with the like philosophy of Miyazaki in mind when creating something like that. But
I guess that's the thing though, when it's a rotating exhibit, and probably that stuff is probably like, if that stuff is Hayao Miyazaki shit, that's from Japan. They have to take care of shit. They have to ship shit. They have to.
Yeah.
That's probably the more concerning part than like making a super great interactive experience.
And they did have a couple of models on display from his museum, which was really cool to see. So yeah, overall, I'd give it 7.5 out of 10. I think maybe the 0.5 has been knocked off due to my own. I just got I watched like 2 documentaries about the guy. I read that whole book. I was like, yeah! And then I went in there and I was like, well, I already
know
saw
this
all
stuff
this
already.
Stuff. They had like clips from the documentary.
So doesn't that just literally validate the thing I said earlier about going to see the same picture every day?
I suppose. I suppose it does, but there was definitely value in getting to see a lot of it in person.
Oh yeah, for sure. But read the real questions though. The real questions. Did you see any Power Ranger shit, or was there any Power Ranger stuff?
I know that we'll call him Tevin.
Buckler?
We'll call him Tevin.
Toyvin?
Did purchase a Power Ranger in Little Tokyo.
Trander purchased a Power Ranger?
Yeah. But that was a different day.
Damn it!
Because I'll tell you what, Little Tokyo is
cool as fuck.
In LA.
Did you guys get soup dumplings?
You just can't watch. I didn't get soup dumplings. I got ramen and I got a bun. What do you call it?
A bao bun?
The steamed buns.
Yeah, steamed buns. What kind of bun did you get? Was it like?
It was the sweet bean.
Ooh, sweet bean. I love bean.
Little Tokyo is I feel like if I lived in LA which I would never do because
You'd be broke?
it's basically like the Gotham City of America. That's probably not fair. There are probably worse places.
No.
But
New York springs to mind.
Yeah,
when
that's
you
true. But I feel like the thing is that I've like watched LA get worse, which is sad to watch.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Anyway, if I did live there, I would go fucking absolutely broke, regardless of the fact that rent is insane and all this stuff. I would just go to Little Tokyo. I'd buy like a new blind box toy every day, and then get fucking delicious food and be absolutely decimated financially. You just had to be careful because
a soup dumpling, you should get one.
I've never had a soup dumpling.
Oh my god, they're so good.
It's just a dumpling in soup?
No, that's dumpling soup. A soup dumpling. A soup dumpling is a dumpling that has soup and meat inside the dumpling.
Oh, okay.
You gotta do a little bite, or like kind of open up with the chopsticks and the big spoon so it spills out. Otherwise, if you try to one chomp it, it's probably fresh. It's probably just eating, like you're just biting into a whole shit ton of hot liquid contained in a bun. You're gonna burn your mouth. But they are so fucking delicious.
Yeah, I've never had that, and I don't
Imagine ordering several different types of soup dumplings, right? So that each spoonful of a dumpling that you pop open and eat is just a different flavored soup. It's so fucking delicious. I love soup dumplings. Sorry. I've been making a lot of dumplings and steaming. I got a steam basket myself, right? Like the bamboo steam baskets.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So I've been steaming just a shit ton of things lately. And first I bought, like, the store-bought shit. And the store-bought shit... Yeah, it's store-bought shit. So I've done the painstaking task of making my own dumplings. That shit takes a long time, dude. Especially if you want it to look nice. Oh, God.
Well, you have to, like, hand... So yeah. I've seen Bao.
I've seen Bao. I know.
I saw the lady do the thing that she does to make that happen.
I don't make the dough. Fuck that. I buy wraps, but shit, it's hard.
But still, I mean, you have to. It's such a delicate food that like because I feel like once you even receive it, you're like, I'm gonna break this thing or something.
Yep.
Yeah, Little Tokyo is definitely my favorite spot. So I had a really good time. We also went to Koreatown. I saw Hello Kitty toilet paper, which I was so tempted to get, dude.
Why didn't you buy it?
It was $20 for like... Actually, it was like $20 for like... I think it was 20... Well, it's like $1 a roll. I don't know how much
toilet paper you use. That's fine.
I subscribed to I subscribed to toilet paper on Amazon and then forgot what I spent. I subscribed to toilet paper on Amazon.
That's a thing you can do?
Yeah, you can like... I set it so that like every like 2 months a thing of toilet paper shows up to our house and it like bills my credit card and then I just pay off my credit card. I guess I'm not entirely sure even how much the toilet paper costs anymore. I think it's like $27, but I don't even remember how much it is. Anyway, I've lost my frame of reference for toilet paper value. So I looked at it and I was like, that seems expensive. I should have just bought it.
Should have just bought it. It's a vacation. On vacation, you spend money anyway.
I know.
Because that's the point. Like, you're going to overspend on something.
And I did. So let me tell you what we got. There's a store in Little Tokyo called Monkey Pants, which is like a store that I've been to before and really like. And they make their own clothes. Yannicka got a shirt for toddlers but she can fit into children's clothes. So it's super cheap when you buy like children's clothes, but it has like a banana on it and it says like lovely banana will always be your friend, and it's got like this freaky looking banana on it, which is probably my favorite thing. And I got her a shirt from it's like cinema roll from Sanrio.
Oh, cinnamon roll?
Yeah, and I got some blind boxes. I got a Pokemon one, I got a Pac-Man one, I got a Kirby one. I tried a little machine. I tried 2 machines. Those machines are rigged, man. If they weren't rigged, I would have gotten a Tom Nook plush.
Ooh.
So I did spend some money, but I didn't want to buy the Hello Kitty toilet paper. I don't know, man. But imagine that, because it's like her face on the toilet paper.
I'm gonna wipe my face.
I guess
wipe her face up my ass crack.
I guess I felt kind of bad about that too. But that would be good. It's like when you have people over and you're like, oh, get out the good china.
Get out the good Hello Kitty toilet paper. That's what we do when we have guests over.
Be like, oh, honey, we're having guests. Make sure that they can wipe their ass with Hello Kitty's face.
You know, now I'm thinking about all the weird things you can do with toilet paper. I bet I could put an Igo face on toilet paper and it would sell like hotcakes.
What's that?
I don't want to explain it.
Can you? I don't know what it is.
The internet does. The internet does.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
If you're looking up, it's spelled AHEGAO. While he looks it up, guys, I apologize, but you know that shit would sell. Imagine. All those fucked up people
yeah,
buying
absolutely.
That. They would want that going up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, we can
$1 million idea.
We can make a business.
Quick! Let's go! We have to trademark it now. We gotta go!
That's a genius idea. That was
I'm the man with the plan.
So something that we saw in Little Tokyo is that they have a Bandai makes their snap together Pokemon models, and one that I had never seen before is that they have Gardevoir now, and we were like, oh no. Immediately. Which is funny because it's like, okay, this is gonna sell, but like not in a pure way. The intentions here, like I bet that, that model's gonna sell like crazy.
So last night, it was last night. No, 2 nights ago, me and a couple of friends, we were bored, so we played Smash or Pass on Pokemon, on all of them, on all 892. Our one friend was just like, no, the entire time until she finally started like getting into it, like, okay, fine, I guess, and then she had like I want to say she had like plus 20. That's it. The other friend hit like a solid 110 or something.
Nice.
Right? My degenerative ass was over 150.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
There's 150 and more to see. And
you had to hit that mark.
Listen, I smashed Mew for the same reason I smashed Ditto.
Ditto can be anything you want.
Mew knows transform.
Oh, god damn it, you're right. Okay, well, fine.
Mew can also be anything you want. I also smashed Celebi and Jirachi, simply for the power of time and wishes.
You don't get
the power of time and wishes will be mine!
You don't get the powers.
I would be smashing the people who did have them, so therefore...
I'm not getting you any Pokemon models, Joe. Ever.
Hey, we already did a Digimon thing. We know where my tastes lie. They're pretty normal.
Yeah,
as
that's
opposed
true.
to a child.
So, another thing that I saw in Little Tokyo were the, like, classic Japanese Godzilla figures. You know, the ones that are, like, sort of like, low-quality plastic, and they're about this big and round.
Hell yeah, I love Godzilla.
I love those figures. They're so wildly expensive, I will never start a collection of them.
They're stupid expensive.
But it also made me realize that locally in town, there's a shop that sells them for like $80, and suddenly that's a spectacular deal.
Yeah, yeah. I loved Godzilla growing up, and my parents gave me 2 Godzilla toys, right? They had a big, kind of shitty looking, like, I forget which Godzilla it was, but he had kind of a white-ish chest. So he was a little bit on the... He's the hero Godzilla who still fucked with humanity sometime. And I also had a space Godzilla. And that thing was fucking rad. Because it had
awesome.
Huge shoulder spikes. And it was like, and I'm like, fuck yeah. And I played with him too hard, and I think I lost him.
That's why they go up in value. And I also... speaking of, like, sexy figures, I did get...
A sexy figure?
I did end up with a figure of 2B from Nier Automata. Which was interesting. I think I'm gonna sell it eventually. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do. But what's funny to me. Do you know that game at all?
Yeah.
Like everybody cosplays that girl.
Yeah.
You know. But the figure
robot made.
The figure comes with like an extra like just the extra piece, you know, because sometimes you get like a different chest that has scratches on it, or like a different arm that's this one just comes with it like a different ass. It's like it's like from her like waist to the top to her thigh, and it just comes with an extra one, and I have no idea why. I mean, I know why, I guess.
I know why, unfortunately.
It's like sealed in the box. I'm probably not going to open it, so I'm never going to get to investigate that ass further. But but the sexualized nature of some anime figures, man.
You listen, that comes with the whole fucking territory.
It sure does.
You know, that's just the thing. I thought about, honestly, getting an ass or boob mouse pad just because it does look comfortable for the wrist.
You can just get one that has a bump on it then. It doesn't have to be an
Yeah, but like, why not?
I guess if you're going to do it, though.
If you're going to do it, just do it. Right?
Back to the museum. Let me describe this museum to you a little bit more, because that was like...
Sure.
I think that probably the most interesting aspect of the... Well, okay, I loved all of the props. It was cool they had a room where they went around and sort of listed, like, significant wins for different, like, cultures and stuff. Like, the first Asian American to win, the first, like, black... It was, like, Halle Berry... And they had their acceptance speeches playing around in the room. It was really cool to see.
Wow, they did. Okay.
But it was so interesting because I feel like what that museum is like a big, long apology for how, like, how non-inclusive the Academy historically is, and how little they've given to, like, the actual, like, art of film as a whole. Because I was walking through there, and they're showing movies where I'm like, they didn't never recognize those movies for anything. But they were included, which was nice.
Here's the thing. The Academy is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
where a bunch of people just spend a bunch of money to try and get their movie promoted by winning awards.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you like, watch what you like, and the whole, like, oh shit, we should be inclusive because otherwise people are going to hard scrutinize us. It's fucking funny to me.
I mean, it's not what it was. What it felt like to me was that there is a possibility that in the future the Academy Awards will start actually being about a global, accumulation of an art form, which would be nice. And I guess it's sort of, they're trying.
Right.
But it's frustrating, you know, when you're like, oh, well, that's the Academy Awards, whatever. And there are so many movies that...
Academy.
I mean, they get, you know...
Listen, the Academy... Listen, it's all about what the people like. Not about what a group of, like, specific people say is good. You know? For example, I watched the name alone will cause it, a Nicolas Cage movie over the weekend.
Which one?
I watched Willy's Wonderland.
Oh, I've seen that one. It's not very good.
What do you mean? It's great.
So
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's the thing.
Yes.
It's not meant to invoke heart-wrenching emotions. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant
here's my
to
thing
be
about,
this thing.
Here's my thing about Willy's Wonderland, let me tell you, is that he defeats those animatronics with such ease that there's never any stakes involved to bring the peril or bring
the joke.
I guess.
That's the joke.
Yes.
Damn it.
Yes.
Willy's Wonderland is a movie that was supposed to be Five Nights at Freddy's, but they didn't get the rights, but they said, we still want to make a movie about it. Nicolas Cage is going to produce it. So Nicolas Cage is just this dude in a fast car with, like, a shit ton of warm soda in the back of his truck called Punch. And turns out the whole town is feeding random people to this, like, broken down hot dog. Not even pizza. Hot dog, like, birthday place for kids. Because all the animatronics are inhabited by the souls of a cult that used to work there. Nicolas Cage, in order to have his vehicle fixed, is told, if you stay one night and clean it up, we'll get the car fixed for you for free. And then what does Nicolas Cage do? He is a 100% pure employee. Because he's told, make sure you take lots of breaks, and he does.
I love that. That's the best part of the movie.
So he fucking cleans up the entire, like, area. Like, he'll clean up one area, and then one of the animatronics will be like, I'm here to fuck your shit up and kill you. And he just beats the fuck out of it and relentlessly kills it. puts it in a trash bag, and re-cleans the area until his phone goes off. It's like, oh, break time. And he starts to fuck this pinball machine on his break. Is essentially what he's doing. And the whole gag is this whole town is like, how do you do this? We want to burn it down. And no, we're supposed to feed Willie and his animatronics. And he doesn't say a word during the entire movie. Nicolas Cage doesn't say a goddamn word in this entire movie. He just cleans, drinks his soda, and beats up a bunch of monsters, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is like, what it is, right?
My favorite scene of the movie is when, like, there's a chameleon monster, and the girl who's, like, the plot, basically, she's telling everybody what the plot is and everything about moving forward. He doesn't care. Is about to, like, fight. The main plot girl's about to get attacked by a chameleon. He shows up and he's about to kick its ass. Then his thing goes off. It's like, oh, it's break time. So he hands her a knife and then just leaves to go on his break so she fends off this monster by herself until the break goes off, and then he comes back and kills it. It's a stupid movie for fun, but it doesn't get rewarded because it's not serious or it's not the correct type of fun.
Right.
But if you look at, like, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, all this other stuff, it gives it, like, pretty negative, like, 5 out of 10 or, like, 6.5 ratings. But the audience score is, like, 89%. Because the people who watch the movie are watching it for that reason.
Right.
Therefore, fucking the Academy, you can't tell me how to enjoy art.
But it was nice to see. So, like, for example, they did one of the cool things that they had was a room where people explained, like, the production design of different movies. And one of the movies that they included was Transformers: Age of Extinction, which I thought was cool. Like, that's not a movie that wins Academy. Maybe it did win for, like, special effects or something. Anyway, my point is like, I still want to know about those movies if I'm at a place for movies. They had they had a clip from The Holy Mountain, which is, like, one of my favorite movies, but it was, like, as if the Academy ever recognized that movie, you know. So that was nice. It was nice to see that. I feel like I thought, well, this is just going to be, like, about the Oscars, and there are things that are about the Oscars, but it really was...
Not if Haim Saban is one of the guys who owns the building, I'll tell you what.
It really was just about film and, like, the impact it has. They had some really cool stuff about, like, the advent of movies and, like, the precursors to it, where you had, like, shadow boxes and, like, you know, shadow puppets and all kinds of stuff. It was cool. I learned a lot more than I thought that I would. I saw a lot of things that I never thought that I would see. They had the full suit from The Shape of Water, which they referred to as handsome.
Oh, wow.
They said Guillermo del Toro intentionally made the creature handsome or attractive, handsome and attractive, and I was like, okay, if you think that
one of us here is a monster fucker, and it's not you. It's fine.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to tell you that I also learned.
What?
On this trip, because when you go on a road trip, you inevitably listen to a lot of music.
Yes.
The song "Yeah" by Usher.
Yeah.
So the song "Yeah" by Usher is not, like, a fun song, and I've never stopped to listen to the lyrics of that song.
Yeah.
But what that song actually is Usher is the girl that he's dancing with is his, like, ex-girlfriend's friend, and he's having major conflict about getting with her, which I never realized, because basically that song, when you hear it, like, someplace, is just an opportunity to shout "yeah," I guess. It's, like, just a fun party song. But what it actually is Usher is there, he's having a lot of conflict. So the way that I imagined it is it's like Usher is in one part of the club, and this girl's grinding on him, and he's enjoying it, but he's freaking out about it, because he's like, what the fuck do I do? And at the same time, Little John is, like, near him, being like, yeah, get it! And Usher's like, I don't know. And then also, Ludacris is on the entire opposite side of the club, having an entirely different night. And that's I think the thing about that song is that you can hear Ludacris much more clearly, like, as far as what he says, and he's just talking about, like, which car to take this girl home in. He's, like, on the fucking other side of the club, and and that's what I learned about the song Yeah.
Okay. How many times did you listen to the song Yeah on the road trip?
I think 3 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think 3 times.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm, All right, we're slowly winding down here. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. What are your top 3 Hayao Miyazaki films?
That is such a... I mean, I don't think that I thought about that a lot because I had a feeling that we were going to discuss some top listing. And I think that the thing with Miyazaki's movies is that I don't know, man. I can't separate any of them
First
from the
3
others.
that come to mind. First 3
To
that come
say
to mind.
to say that like that somehow Kiki's Delivery Service is like not a top 3, but like Spirited Away is like
We're not gonna.
You just can't.
What is your personal
compare those?
Top? No,
You
no,
just
no. Like,
can't compare those.
what are your personal 3 favorites then? Not like what are the best. What are your personal
Okay,
3 favorites?
The
Like,
movies,
that should be the
movies
context.
that I gravitate to the most to watch over and over again, I guess, are The Wind Rises,
Okay.
Spirited Away, and I don't know, maybe I mean Nausicaa I like a lot. I
Nausicaa
watch
is very pretty.
that often. So maybe it's a toss up between Nausicaa and God, what's the other one? Ponyo I watch a lot too. I can't. Oh, My Neighbor Totoro. It's got to be My Neighbor Totoro. It's My Neighbor
For
Totoro.
a movie
Spirited
called
Away.
My Neighbor Totoro, not a lot of Totoro. You know, Totoro's not in it a lot. You think he'd be more in the movie?
For a movie called Silence of the Lambs, there sure aren't many lambs in it.
There's a difference between the Silence of the Lambs being a titular and My Neighbor Totoro, who isn't in the film. It should have been called Cat Bus.
Yeah, I don't know how much screen time Totoro has, but I guess that it isn't much. I feel like the thing about My Neighbor Totoro is that the whole first section of that movie is about about establishing the fantasy that Totoro could exist.
Right.
And I think that it's important to root that in reality first, to see these little kids just being kids, and then bringing them slowly into this more like fantastical setting.
Okay.
And to do that slowly, then brings so much impact to the things that do happen. And I think that's because when Totoro does show up, every time he does, it's iconic. When you think about that movie, it's him sleeping in the tree. It's him waiting for the bus. It's him on his little top. It's him doing the thing in front of the tree where he's like, burp, burp, burp. You know, and those are the times that he does show up in that movie. I think also it's like, I mean, it's like a pre-K movie. It's like the most pre-K of any of Miyazaki's movies.
Fair.
And moves.
I feel like the movies are just like pretty much. They're generally either pretty much for everyone. Even the like the darker like movies he has, I still think are for everyone because it's important that they watch.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
But I do think that model's more of like a Winnie the Pooh style, like slow pacing thing for a reason. I mean, you know.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's very popular with very young kids. So, I mean, yeah, Totoro's not in it too much, but
it's fine because it makes when he does show up good. That's a good point.
And if you have not seen The Wind Rises, which I think we talked about, you haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one yet. No.
That movie is just like a culmination. It's his most recent movie, and when you watch things like Nausicaa, you see, okay, well, this is a little bit more still than like Spirited Away because he just didn't have the budget or the time or the staff to fully realize. I mean, it's just like a fully realize of his brain on paper with a whole team working to make that a reality.
The amount of animation that goes in a movie like his is ridiculous to me.
he does
because
have...
a lot of animations have just here's the background and we're gonna have the animated characters reacting and doing stuff on the front of it, right? Mm-hmm. Everything feels animated in his
right.
Howl's Moving Castle is just him just let's feed the fire coals. That scene with just the cooking scene fucking not Howl's Moving Castle. I'm sorry, is that Howl's? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cooking. I guess they do that in Ponyo too. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
Lucifer. And in that movie, right? You have the feathers, you have the hair, you have the fire, you have the food. You have
Miyazaki hair is a fucking dream.
It's beautiful. So in The Wind Rises, what you're working with mostly is wind. Everybody's hair is being swept by wind. Everybody's clothes are being affected by. There's an earthquake that happens in the movie. I mean, it's just the. I can't. It's beyond words how incredible that movie is. And also, it's the kind of thing where when that movie came out, I was like, well, it's like a historical fiction about somebody who made airplanes. That doesn't interest me too much. It's interesting. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then Spirited Away.
Oh yeah.
For the creatures.
You've said so many things.
Sorry, you said I also. I'm sorry. I'm so excited about Miyazaki.
You're good.
What were you gonna say?
I love his mechanical work. When he draws and builds machines, they look very good. Especially when you see them moving and doing stuff, it feels right. The artist for Dragon Ball is really, even though his characters look kind of childish and stuff, he has a real thing for making machines look real, fucking on point, and he drew the part. It's like he drew the parts and put the thing together. I see that with a Miyazaki movie. I like seeing all the pistons and everything moving and shit when he does what's it? Kiki's Delivery Service. They did a good job with the basic mechanical shit in that. Howl's Moving Castle, obviously, but it's there's so many moving parts and actual moving parts in animation and detail in his movies. That's what makes it such a good watch. His stories aren't even that out of the ordinary or breathtakingly deep. It's just here's the story, but here's the picture I'm painting with the story, and the picture is worth 1,000 words here. I don't know.
So something I learned in that exhibit is that Miyazaki doesn't really start a movie with a story in mind, and just starts,
that makes sense to me.
He just starts storyboarding it and then sees where it takes them.
Nice.
So that makes sense. And I agree with the mechanics. I mean, he's huge on airplanes. He's huge on robots and stuff. And it does. You can feel the weight of the machines because of how animated they are. Which is a feat because it's not something that has any weight or movement to it in reality. But he gives it that tactile feel that, I mean, nobody comes close. What are your top 3 movies?
Probably Princess Mononoke. I
That's
fucking love Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
I think it had a very... I think that gave me, my choice of... I really like tomboys. The nicest way to say it is, I really like tomboys.
Oh my god, Joe!
I fucking love tomboys.
That's fair.
God damn. No, they're the best... Anyway. And then... Kiki's Delivery Service, just because I watched it so much as a kid growing up, and it's very wholesome. It's very, and it's, it's... Now I watch it, and I find it a little bit more relatable, because the person leaves out to go on their own and just try to figure out life, and not try to, I met another witch, and she does this, but I do this my way, and that doesn't make me any less, and fuck, that's a lesson I really didn't get the first time I watched it as a kid, but as an adult, I really appreciate that you were trying to tell me that. Fuck. And then the third one, I'm gonna say Ponyo. I love the way the ocean is animated. I love when an ocean is animated. Anytime I see water animated really well, Moana, Ponyo, fucking, it doesn't happen often enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's why whenever I see it, I get so excited. Hell, Lilo and Stitch had really good water. It's so... I don't know why the ocean itself like really pulls me in. But whenever I see art or animation or anything depicting or mentioning the ocean, it kind of I am more inclined to like it. So yeah, Ponyo, which is just the way the ocean turns into like giant fish things. Like it's just so cool
It's so
and
fluid.
beautiful and fluid, and just like water, it's fluid, and that's why I'm like, fucking, this is perfect.
I think in that
This is
movie,
cool.
I get such a sense of space and scale in that movie, as far as like the size of the island versus the ocean, and how much the ocean impacts their lives in that movie. I like that one a lot too. What you said about Kiki's Delivery Service too is an interesting point, because I feel like that's the magic of his movies in general, right? Is that you can watch them at any age. You mentioned that before too, that you can like watch them at any age and get something out of them. And get something pretty significantly different. Because I feel the same way about Kiki's Delivery Service. That was like always on Disney Channel, I feel like, when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I watched it a lot and enjoyed it. But you're right, a totally different experience at every age watching that movie. And like similarly for something like Totoro, right? Because there's the whole like mild subplot of their mom being sick and sort of having to escape from that and deal with that. That I think when a 4-year-old watches that movie, that just goes mostly over your head. But then
exactly.
But then you watch it and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty emotionally heavy movie.
I will say Spirited Away is very up there too for me. I will the animation and just there's some stories that always need to get told, like how great is bad, and Spirited Away does a very good job of that, in my opinion. But
it's his probably most anti-capitalist movie, possibly.
I'm not anti-capitalist. I feel like capitalism can lead to greed. I'm anti-greed.
I don't think that he really is either. I don't.
I think he is.
No, I don't.
I think he is.
I think that he's talked a lot about like the hubris of Japanese culture and its excess.
Yes.
Quite a bit, but I wouldn't go as far to say that he's like anti-capitalist. But I think that that one touches on that the most. It's about like just excess. And the damage that it does.
Yes.
And Spirit Away, I mean,
it's got a cool dragon.
We
love cool dragons.
It's got so many things to look at, like all the time. That I feel like is the one that he had the least amount of story for too, and it just is like this liminal, like fever dream that happens around you. It's not even like watching a movie.
He does innocence and the maturity of not losing innocence, but the maturity of growing up with innocence very well in all of his movies. Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo, Spirited Away. I will say that kid in Ponyo, bro, you fucked up. You got married before kindergarten. I don't know what you're thinking. He wasn't, but that kid got married before kindergarten.
I think about that every time I watch that movie when he gets to the end.
Right? Because they're like, oh.
His mom is like, "Are you gonna love Ponyo forever?" He's like, "Yeah, all right."
Sure.
It's a nice sentiment, though.
It helps that the dubs are actually really good for these movies too. I don't know who voiced Ponyo in the American version, but that little girl really showed me that character loved ham.
It was
goddamn.
It was Miley Cyrus's younger sister. Did you know?
Well, Miley Cyrus's younger sister, you really told me that you loved ham every time you yelled it in that movie. Ham! You sold it. Ham! And she's like fucking freaking out. I'm like, yeah, ham is good.
That's the cutest movie ever made.
It's so and the food looks so good animated. I love when food looks good. It makes food is very important to me. Not just because I'm fat.
Tevin pointed out to me that food in general is often a focus of Japanese animation.
Yes.
That is a very important aspect of it. And I guess I don't have the frame of reference for a lot of anime and stuff, but really, I mean, Miyazaki's food is far and away the best food that I've ever seen.
Well, Trander brings up a good point where food, personally, food to me, not just like the act of eating, but like cooking and preparing and then setting out and displaying food in a meal is not only art, and it's also science, and it's also culture. it's a combination of all those three things that also brings people together at a table.
Yeah, right.
To sit down, consume life, because that's what food is. Food is, to me, like it's continued life. You need food to continue living. Something died usually for what you're eating. Food is the circle of life. It's very important to me that sitting down and having a meal with somebody at least once a week, just so that way you can like have a connection and build like your own culture of like community within yourself and your friend group or your family. That's why food is so important to me. And I feel like a lot of Japanese animators, I don't know if they get that, but the way they treat food in animation makes me feel some sort of way. That's all.
Well, I think that culturally that is a sentiment that many Asian cultures share.
Right.
Is that food is like pretty sacred as far as the act of sitting
well,
down.
the thing is, it's not just Asian culture. It's everybody.
That's true. That's a good
everybody.
point.
That's one of the few things that we as a society can fucking agree on.
Except for America, dude. We just get like a TV dinner and sit in front of the fucking television.
And the people who do TV dinners and sit in front of televisions aren't that happy, are they?
I don't know. You can't blanket.
Think. You ever meet a dude who fucking has a fucking this is my man meal and microwaves it and then watches food by himself? You think that dude's happy?
Maybe.
I haven't met a dude who's happy who does that.
I mean, maybe they are.
My roommate used to do that all the time because he used to live with two other dudes who never saw each other, right? My current roommate. We do a family dinner every Wednesday now where I usually cook or occasionally they'll buy something. Sometimes they cook, but then I end up roping in and helping. And we sit down and we eat, and every single time we do that, the first things out of his mouth after he takes a bite of something, he's like, oh, this is good, this is great. And then my other roommate just goes, I love family nights. Like, that's all it is. Like, we still sit down and watch. We're watching the newest season of Survivor right now. That's what we do on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, we make a meal and we watch the newest episode for the newest season of Survivor. Like, it can still be something stupid like that. It's just bringing people together, community, and like when you put effort into creating something, even if it's like if you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for me, it's gonna taste better than one I bought off of it's gonna taste better than an Uncrustable. It is.
Why is there so much hate for Uncrustables?
I don't know. I love Uncrustables. Because when you gotta go, you can just grab one. I will buy those still. I'm just saying that,
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Everybody hates Uncrustables. And I guess they're kind of weird and sad.
Every single millennial, listen, I'm even though we're not, we all like it. Don't pretend you don't. Don't fucking pretend you haven't scarfed down an Uncrustable late at night just because it was the only thing in the fridge or because that's your ritual. Don't you fucking disagree with me.
Try them frozen.
You should keep them frozen. Do not keep them refrigerated. It says keep frozen.
It really spoke to me in that scene in Princess Mononoke when the deer god gives what's-his-face an Uncrustable and it heals him.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our time. It is lovely having you as always. All five of you. You over there. And you down there. I don't forget you up there. Anyway, next week, are we doing the thing that we talked about, Eric?
Yeah, we're gonna...
Go ahead and introduce it.
We're gonna talk
Excite
about
the people.
We're gonna talk about Muppets. Oh, dude, I didn't even tell you there were so many Dark Crystal puppets at the museum.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. Why didn't you mention? Fuck you. You're gonna tell me all about the Dark Crystal puppets next week.
All right.
Also, we're not just looking into the Muppets. We're gonna see if we're gonna smash or pass some Muppets.
I think also though that this is gonna be a pretty intimate smash or pass where I will, you'll have to get to know the Muppets.
What? I mean, that's on Eric. So Xygni is the one making the PowerPoint this time. I made the PowerPoint for Digimon and explained a fandom and their horniness. He is going to do something different. And spoiler alert, there's probably a Muppet that I'm going to smash. That's it.
I don't think Muppet fans are generally horny. Maybe they are.
Oh,
well, I'm
you
sure they
poor
are
summer child. Eric, if they're a fan of
Muppets.
something, they're horny for it.
Fine.
People want to fuck Pokemon.
Fine.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Fine. I'll see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody!